you know, just prattled on for 15 minutes and lost my video because I got a phone call. And I don't know how to go back to the video to continue. But anyhow, something that folks are unaware of or they choose to be ignorant of, and the premise for my trying to do something proactive, hence the name of my channel, is chemtrails. And there's, as somebody put it, there's several layers to the onion. If you look at a spider's web or a tree or a root system, there's generally, or even your arterial system in your body, there's generally one center point and everything branches off from there. And the webs go in so many different directions, or the veins, or you can't count them. There's most everything is tied together. It's funny, I'm sitting here talking about chemtrails and the poisoning that they're doing, and you're seeing me smoking a cigarette. And the hypocrisy behind that is not lost on me. I started smoking a long time ago, which, is probably my one true great regret in life. I started smoking a long time ago, but just to recently, 3-4 years, the past 3-4 years, is when I've been gathering the information or finding out about some of these things. And so I haven't been able to put down the cigarettes yet, but I'm trying to express the information. And I suppose part of what it is that that's a poison that I'm choosing and I'm aware of, that I chose, years ago, decades ago. And it's a poison that I'm aware of, that I know what I'm doing. But what concerns me is the poisons that we're not aware of, that our children don't have a choice on. Poisons like chemtrails, poisons like fluoridation, poisons like GMOs. And I mentioned the spider's web or the roots or the arterial system because that's sort of the analogy. When you look at certain parts of what's happening in our world today, it's easy to identify them as singularities, when in reality they're all interconnected. There's a systematic agenda in place which is propagated to an end result. That end result is the centralization of global power. Okay, it's a small percentage of people on the planet want to control everything. They want that ultimate power, and the rest of us are designated to be subservient to them. And in the grand scheme of things, we are all individual consciousness. We all have our own wants, we all have our own desires, we all have our own dreams. So those dreams and wants and desires should not be stifled because somebody else's dreams and wants and desires are to subjugate you. So some of the things that I plan on discussing are things like chemtrails. And these are particulates that the government is spraying into the atmosphere to keep people sick, to alter the conductivity of the atmosphere, to trap and produce global warming, among other things. The particulates that they're spraying, 3 of them that we know of are aluminum, barium, and strontium. And these are known toxins to human beings. And so they keep people sick because when people are sick, then they have to seek medical attention. They become dependent. Dependency means control. The pharmaceutical companies are the ones that are writing the textbooks for our future doctors. So would it surprise you to know that those textbooks are geared towards prescribing medicines, pharmaceuticals? It shouldn't. The chemicals they're spraying are saturating the earth. They're killing fish. They're ruining food crops, foodstuffs. Again, they're keeping people sick. They're producing sort of an insulating blanket around the planet. The planet's natural cycle is to heat up during the day and cool off at night. Well, it's not being allowed to cool off at night because the chemicals they spray surround the planet and don't allow for the Earth to dissipate the heat at night the way it's naturally been doing for billions of years. They claim that these chemicals are supposed to reflect UV rays. UV rays have been filtering through this Earth's atmosphere since its inception, and it hasn't destroyed the planet. And they say that humans put a hole in the ozone layer. The government has been working on weather manipulation warfare since the 40s. And part of that is spraying chemicals in the atmosphere. Part of that is their HAARP program, the High Altitude Auroral Research Project in Alaska. And it's based on Tesla's wireless transmittance of energy patents and ideas and theories. And so they pump these high-frequency radio waves into the atmosphere, and they move the ionosphere. When they do that, the ionosphere being the very outer shell of Earth's atmosphere, and when they move that, it in turn moves the other layers of the atmosphere. And when they shift those, well, guess what? They can shift the jet stream. And what's not considered is what those high-frequency radio waves and the shifting of the ionosphere does to the other layers of the atmosphere, including the ozone layer. So now the supposed hole that we put into the ozone layer by driving all our cars, doing all that crap, that's supposedly that's what has been destroying, and that's why they need to, put these programs in place. When in reality, they're the ones doing it. They're the ones. So, and the surprising or the funny thing is that this insulating blanket that they pump around the planet traps, you guessed it, carbons. So when they test the atmosphere, carbon level tests higher. Imagine that. So now, just with this one simple action of pumping these chemicals into the atmosphere. They're keeping people sick, perpetuating the medical field and pharmaceuticals. They are affecting crops. They're affecting lakes and rivers and aquatic life. They are inducing global warming. And see, this all ties in together. It ties in with other aspects to this agenda. And, you know, it's funny because the term conspiracy theory, it's a term that was made up. Made up by the CIA to make people who were theorizing about JFK's death look like kooks. You know, and I'm surprised that we as a species are allowing these things to happen without our authority. Our country was founded as a republic, and the republic is a governance by the rule of law. The rule of law. They're breaking the law. Something to think about.